Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, as the country slowly reopens, details of the new emergency orders. Why some parents aren't too excited about the bat-free holiday. Plus, remembering Sir Lynden and John Lee Ferguson.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. 2 days after Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced that many businesses would be allowed to operate beginning next Monday, the emergency orders were released today, allowing a wide range of businesses to open on Grand Bahama and several family islands effective today and New Providence on Monday. The orders apply to islands like Acklins, Abaco, Andros, Bimini, Cat Island, Eleuthera, Exuma, Grand Bahama, and Inagua, where these businesses are now allowed to operate with restrictions. However, in the case of New Providence and Paradise Island, the orders take effect next Monday. Some of those businesses allowed to operate include grocery stores, pharmacies, gas stations, hardware stores, water depots, private medical facilities, and dental practices, but only for emergency care. In addition, commercial banks and financial services with no more than 10 employees, as well as retail bakeries. When it comes to businesses like laundromats, they're allowed to operate between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., but only at 50% capacity. Among the list allowed to open for delivery and curbside are retail businesses and gaming house operators who can also operate online and delivery services. With back to school a hot topic, the orders allow schools to open provided that all persons in attendance at the school wear a face mask, the premises are sanitized, and physical distancing protocols are adhered to. And after being halted for a few weeks, weddings may be held with a limit of 10 attendees. Funerals may be held at the graveside with a limit of 10 people. Repasts are not permitted. And when it comes to restaurants, they're allowed to operate between 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. daily. Outdoor dining is allowed at 50% capacity, and curbside, pickup or delivery, drive-through, and takeaway are also permitted. Fish fry locations on Nassau and Grand Bahama are prohibited from operating outdoor dining. But as these latest orders are a part of a revised phase reopening yet to be released, there are a list of businesses not allowed to operate. They include casinos, discos, cinemas, museums, gyms, libraries, spas, beauty salons, and barbershops. As for transportation, jitney services are still not allowed. However, taxi services may operate subject to the guidelines of the Ministry of Tourism. As of August 31st, New Providence churches may conduct services via live stream from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., but with no more than 10 people in the sanctuary. And as mentioned by the Prime Minister on Monday, beaches on Grand Bahama will only be open for 4 hours daily, 5 to 9 a.m., beginning on the 31st. As for the other islands like Long Island, Harbor Island, Spanish Wells, and San Salvador, where there is no longer a curfew, they're allowed to enjoy the liberties of things like barbers and hairstylists, as well as unlimited access to the beach. Additionally, any person on those islands is able to host or attend a social gathering of up to 20 people. Well, churches in New Providence will undergo a phased reopening, according to Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernandez. However, that decision isn't sitting well with one pastor who said the church should be able to make its own decisions on the way forward. Bertha McDermott has more.
Though the doors of churches in the capital remain closed, only allowed to conduct virtual services, Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernandez says the Prime Minister has informed him that the church will undergo a phased reopening. He's hoping that the decision will be reversed by next week.
What was indicated is that what was presented in the pie chart, that the place of infection was not taking place in churches, and that being the case, there will be a gradual opening of the churches. He did say that we will go back to the phased opening, but it'll be in collaboration, that we will have the data.
Data from the Ministry of Health reveal that no cases were linked to church services. According to the latest order released this morning, a church or place of religious instruction may conduct services in accordance with protocols set out by the Bahamas Christian Council and approved by the Ministry of Health. However, Fernandez said he was informed that New Providence churches will not be permitted to reopen after August 31st and will continue live stream. The idea of a phased reopening isn't sitting well with local pastor Christopher Roberts.
There is no way the government should be dictating to the church when and how it meets. Are you suggesting that pastors are not intelligent enough? That they who lead religious organizations are not intelligent enough to come together and, per the protocols, per the medical data, make decisions on how they will go forward and how they will move forward in their worship.
A statement from the Office of the Prime Minister noted that churches on all islands except New Providence are allowed to reopen in accordance with the Christian Council's guidelines. Roberts stressed the importance of churches, especially during difficult times. He also shot down critics who questioned the need for churches to hold services.
I know that some people went into depression because they were not able to come together in worship. That not everyone is strong enough to stand on their own in prayer. Some people need the fellowship of the saints. And so you could put up an argument for the opening of a liquor store, but you have an issue when the church says we need our moment to come together. And again, coming together within the protocols. Within the protocols. We're intelligent people. We're not fools. We may shout and dance and speak in tongues, but we have intelligence.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
A man died in hospital yesterday after being stabbed during an argument on Pinedale Road. According to police, a group of men were outside a business on Pinedale Road around 8 a.m. Tuesday when two of the men got into an argument. This resulted in one of the men producing a sharp object and stabbing the other multiple times. The victim was transported to hospital in a private vehicle, but he later succumbed to his injuries. Police investigations into this matter continue. Well, passengers of a Piper Cherokee aircraft say they are grateful to be alive. Their plane took off from Treasure Key Airport in Apico around 7:30 this morning and went down in swampy waters 15 minutes later.
I just thankful to be alive. Thank God for His traveling mercy. You know, when we took off, I watched them power up the engine. I watched them test everything out, and things was looking good.
Cell phone video moments after the crash showed the 5 passengers standing on the wing of the plane. They were in the swamp for almost 3.5 hours before being rescued. The pilot, Bishop Cedric Bullard, his son Timothy Bullard, Reverend Troy Russell, his daughter, and another young woman were all heading to New Providence when the aircraft, according to Bishop, lost engine pressure.
We on the losing power. I was trying to head back to the highway, but we end up, because of the altitude, not enough altitude, we were able to put this airplane in the swamp. A beautiful area in Abaco. I mean, while we're here waiting for Basra, waiting for a helicopter to come get us. Thank you all for the call, all of you called us who heard it, and for your prayers. Because I did ask some of our ministers. I was leading a Reverend Clark, who I asked to pray, and some other persons for our safety. While we're here, man, just beautiful. We had bonefish come and hail us. We had crab come and hail us.
Bullard said his knee was hurt and one of the females hit her head, but there were no major injuries. Resident Nicholas Lowe sailed 2 Royal Bahamas Defense Force officers into the swamp to rescue them. In other news, PLP Deputy Leader Chester Cooper is slamming the Minister administration for what he called its failure to reveal immediate plans to get the country through the COVID-19 pandemic. Cooper says while the government is looking to reopen the country to international tourism by November, the Bahamian people deserve answers about their immediate future. Jasmine Brown reports.
Cooper says while he understands the government's need to plan for the future, he says Bahamians want to know what the plan is today.
We are concerned about the pandemic, the health crisis. We are also concerned about the health of the economy. We have heard a lot about the health crisis. We have not heard enough about the health of the economy.
Cooper's comments come as Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest revealed the Minister administration is planning to restart the country's #1 industry this fall. Outside Cabinet on Tuesday, Turnquest told reporters that the government is planning to reopen for international tourism by late October or early November. The DPM says his ministry's current fiscal plans are based on that scenario. When asked about those plans, Cooper said the DPM needs to do more than talk about the future. He needs to lay out the economic blueprint of the present.
One day we hear the Minister of Finance talk about the possibility of programs running out of money. We heard the Minister responsible for Public Service and National Insurance make a similar comment. We hear similar comments from Bahamas Air and Water and Sewage Corporation. And we know BPL is in crisis. Our country is in crisis. We need weekly or monthly updates on the state of the economy.
On Monday, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announced the relaxation of a number of restrictions to prevent the spread of COVID-19. He said, based on positive trends, health officials no longer recommended a hard lockdown of New Providence. However, the announcement came as cases continue to surge. Cooper says while the party welcomes the phased reopening of the economy, the Minnis administration needs to do more than pay lip service.
What we need to see, though, is a plan by the Prime Minister. We want to understand that we are not going to be in an emergency order type of scenario indefinitely. So we must see what the next steps are going to be for the new normal. We must continue to educate the Bahamian people. We must prepare them for what this new normal is going to look like.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Attorney General Carl Bethel brushing off questions about recently filed legal action against the AG and Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis over the state of emergency. When asked about the legal action, the AG would only point to the fact that challenges to emergency orders have failed in other countries.
Every single challenge to emergency orders around the world has failed.
Earlier this month, attorney Wayne Monroe filed a writ against the Prime Minister and Attorney General on behalf of 21 people, arguing that the state of emergency and emergency orders are unconstitutional. Minnis, in his capacity as the competent authority, and Bethel are listed as the first and second defendants, respectively. The plaintiffs include people who were arrested, charged, and fined for breaching the emergency orders. There is more news on the way, but here's a first look at weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Good night, Greg.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather, being brought to you tonight by Downey. Currently outside our studios, we have partly cloudy skies, breezy conditions, temperature of 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds out of the southeast at 10 knots, feels like temperature around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. On our satellite, partly sunny and breezy conditions continued across the islands today as high pressure settled in across the area. We also had a few quick passing showers across a few of the islands. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
All right, thanks, Greg. Still to come, why some Fusion employees feel neglected by their employer. Plus, mixed reactions from struggling parents to government's VAT-free holiday. Stay tuned.
Rev up on the next promotion? Okay. Nice.
Bye. You give up it.
That's 2 out of 3.
Sign up for Rev Trio and opt in to NBA League Pass absolutely free. Visit rev.bs or call 601-8992 for details. Rev, you and us, together.
Some Fusion Superplex employees say they are struggling during the pandemic and feel neglected by their former employer. Jared Higgs tells us more.
I cry almost every night, don't know where the next meal coming from.
Shantara Butler is among thousands relying on NIB to get by. The 22-year-old and her fiancé are both unemployed.
My blood, sweat, and tears went inside that same building that's standing there, Fusion Superplex, and it hurts me.
Butler worked in the kitchen at Fusion Superplex. She and some of her colleagues say the past few months have been extremely difficult as pandemic lockdowns have forced many businesses to close. They've had to rely on NIB benefit payments, which they say can be a hassle to collect.
Well, it's very hard. I'm tired of asking people that I know struggling out there too.
You know, you got some people that getting the light off, their water off, they're getting evicted out of their house. You got pressure amongst young people.
You know, we have a sick woman on the dialysis, and it's only me and her. I don't have a mother, I don't have a father.
Butler's co-workers say they are among the company's reliable workers, but they feel neglected by their employer. 21-year-old Toyel Young says he has to take care of his grandmother on his own. He says despite giving his all and even working for free days during the pandemic, he's left feeling unappreciated.
It's not easy out here for nobody, and we have some of the cries of people crying out there. It's really sad and it's heartening. It's heartening for some people, and it's like they don't really care because they know they are they live in their life or whatever, fancy life or whatever, but it's not fair for the poor people. They're not thinking for the poor people.
Fusion's been hit hard by the country's lockdowns. It's not been open since March. We reached out to the company for its side of the story. The company's chief marketing officer, Nicolette Lynden, defended the company's actions during the pandemic, insisting that it ensured that employees received benefit payments sent by NIB. Lynden said it was unfortunate that the employees feel neglected and admitted that in hindsight, there may have been some things the company could have done differently. She says the company had no idea it would have been shut down for such a long time. She says satisfying everybody and managing a pandemic is a difficult task, and right now, the company is focusing on trying to reopen. She says the company empathizes with its workers, who say their jobs were important to them.
Everybody, the Fusion, we do because we love it. You say we do it because it is like, you could get a job anywhere in the world, but come on, the people were fighting not to get fired.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, after being locked down for over a month, businesses on Grand Bahama reopened this week, allowing employees to get back to work and leaving hungry patrons very happy. It was all smiles outdoors at Sabor restaurant at Pelican Bay yesterday as patrons got to enjoy the dining experience once again.
Very excited, and hopefully we'll have more days ahead of us.
Employees and customers all wearing masks and spaced out as economic activity on the island resumed. Grand Bahama is one of several islands now under 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. Restaurants are allowed to open for outdoor dining, takeout and delivery, except for fish fry restaurants.
We need you back here, not at home sitting down. We need you here at Sabor, where we'll have a great time.
Sabor manager Carver Lewis says social distancing is the order of the day as the restaurant seeks to follow all guidelines to keep everyone safe and remain open.
We got the call last night, and when I called the staff, all the staff jumped right in and we were ready to go.
Over at Burger King, it appears many were over the home-cooked meals and wanted some fast food.
Very good to be back. What you call it? At Burger King again, my brother. Yeah. Every fast food restaurant. This is my second time. I done had breakfast, now I having lunch, and come on down. It's Wendy's for dinner, okay?
Manager Anne-Marie Delaveau says from the doors opened yesterday morning, people were lined up and ready. She says she hopes this time they get to stay open.
This morning I had a customer who said, we couldn't wait for you guys to be open. We're excited that you are open, and we just hope you don't close back anymore. But we're excited to be open.
And restaurants everywhere were prepping for reopening. Marco's Pizza was getting repairs done to its signage, and on the inside, lots of pizza being made. And for this small business owner, Doyle Smith, who operates a hot dog stand, it's the small victory of being allowed to reopen.
This your income, and when you don't have anything for your income, you start to get frustrated. So this my breadwinner. So you lock this down, I can't operate. So.
As many prepare to take advantage of the government's VAT-free holiday on school supplies, some parents say they simply do not have the funds to get their children ready for school during the economic crisis. Georgia Bain has their story.
With many breathing a sigh of relief due to the government's decision to offer a VAT holiday on school supplies, some said with persons being out of work for the majority of the year, it simply isn't enough.
Maxine Farrington said she and her daughters have been out of work for months and simply don't have the funds to get her 3 grandchildren ready for school, even with the VAT-free holiday.
I don't have nothing. My children, my daughters, they don't have nothing prepared to get them ready for school.
The Department of Inland Revenue released a statement on Tuesday announcing that school supplies will be VAT-free from August 31st to September 20th. The list of VAT-free supplies includes personal computers, tablets, school supplies, snacks, clothing, and footwear. Anna Mae Forbes said after months of unemployment, she doesn't see a way for her children to return to school anytime soon.
It's not enough because at the first place, you have to have something in your hands so you can get the VAT-free.
Farrington questioned if the VAT-free period would even make that much of a difference in prices. She called on the competent authority to distribute vouchers to those in need instead.
If they're going to give the tax-free, the price should be low. It should not remain the same thing, because even though they say tax-free, when you get in a shop, it's the same price what they ever had there. So that's tax-free. That's not tax-free. That's still robbery. They robbing the Bahamian people, and I'd be real with you. I don't think it's fair. They could give them a voucher. Instead of sending them to this place and that place, and then these people distribute these things to the people, do a voucher.
Meanwhile, Linda Henfield said more must be done, and she will do what she must to have her grandchildren ready for school because she doesn't want them to turn out like her.
I think he should. He should give a little bit more to help the kids to get back in school. Because now I done been off my job 5 months, not one penny. Not one penny, ma'am. Thank God for my one daughter who could help me. I'm a high school graduate. I learn on the streets, and I don't want them to fall in our footsteps.
Parents also reacted on social media and urged the government to extend the VAT-free holiday in this tough economic climate to give unemployed parents an opportunity to regroup and to find the necessary funds. Another agreed that the time frame won't cut it. However, others called on Bahamians to just be grateful. Peter Tracy said he believes that the government is doing all it can.
The government is doing a good job. And then I feel like within myself, the government is responsible for children, our children.
Reporting for our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
All right, thanks, Giorgio. Still to come, remembering Sir Lynden on the 20th anniversary of his death. Plus, politicians paid their respects to John Lee Ferguson. Stay tuned.
Rev over the next promotion? Okay. Nice.
Bye. You give up it.
Best 2 out of 3.
Sign up for Rev Trio and opt in to NBA League Pass absolutely free. Visit rev.bs or call 601-8992 for details. Rev, you and us, together.
On the 20th anniversary of his death, family members of the late Sir Lynden Pindling laid a wreath at his grave today. Sir Lynden's daughter, Monique Johnson, said while many see him as the first Prime Minister of the Bahamas, her family simply remembers him as Dad.
If he was here, he would tell all Bahamians he still sees a country wealthy and proud, brave and sovereign, and he wants more now than ever that every Bahamian has an opportunity to fight for the Bahamas in which they want to live in. He'll be joyous to know that his voice is ringing loud and clear across the country, hoping that it inspires everybody, all Bahamians.
Sir Lynden became the first black premier of the Bahamas in 1967 and the first Prime Minister in 1969. For more than 2 decades, he served as Prime Minister and retired from politics in 1997. Often described as the father of the nation and the architect of the modern Bahamas, Sir Lynden is credited with leading the country to independence, the creation of social security measures including the National Insurance Board, the formation of the College of the Bahamas, and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. He died in 2000 at the age of 70 after battling cancer. Members of the PLP joined the Pindling family at the gravesite. Deputy Chair Robin Lyons replayed sentiments on behalf of Opposition Leader Philip Davis, who is in the United States receiving medical care after testing positive for COVID-19.
On this day today, I urge all Bahamians to remember Sir Lynden. Remember when he charged us to defend the Bahamas. He said that if Bahamians aren't prepared to defend the Bahamas, then we don't deserve to have it.
Still to come, politicians pay their respects to John Lee Ferguson. Stay tuned.
Rev over the next promotion? Okay. Nice.
Bye. You give up it.
Best 2 out of 3.
Sign up for Rev Trio and opt in to NBA League Pass absolutely free. Visit rev.bs or call 601-8992 for details. Rev, you and us, together.
Former Free National Movement Senator John Lee Ferguson was remembered for his stellar record of service and sacrifice to country and party today. Ferguson's body lie in state at the Senate today, where politicians, members of the judiciary, and friends paid their respects.
I believe that there are a few persons inside the Free National Movement or even in the political sphere right now in this country, few who would have not have had their lives touched by John Lee Ferguson.
Ferguson, a former senator and chairman of the Free National Movement, died on August 6th. He was 69 years old. He was born in Snug Corner, Acklands on November 12, 1950 to Ernest and Ella Mae Ferguson and made his mark as an educator and politician. PLP Deputy Leader Chester Cooper spoke about Ferguson's impact as an educator.
He has been a pioneer in politics, but I think sometimes we forget the legend that people are before entering politics. And it's important for us to reflect on his achievements in education, his sterling track record as an educator across the Bahamas. As an island boy from Acklands, he became principal of many of the notable high schools in the country.
Ferguson was an F&M candidate in 2 general elections, contesting the Mike Howe seat in 2002 and South Eleuthera in 2007. He was appointed a senator on May 7, 2007, following the 2007 general election, and was subsequently elected vice president of the Senate. Also paying their respects today were former Prime Ministers Hubert Ingraham and Perry Christie and former Senator Rodney Munker. The trio exchanged pleasantries outside the Senate.
I didn't recognize you. I old man, you know. I know. Come back. Come back. I need a picture. Come, Papa. Come, Papa. Come.
And that's a look at news. We throw it back to meteorologist Greg Thompson for the extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your second look at weather. Powerful Hurricane Laura continues to churn in the Gulf of Mexico and is headed at the southeast Gulf Coast of the United States. High pressure continues to provide the breezy conditions around the islands today, but winds expected to relax and more stable conditions will cover the islands through the remainder of the week. The tropics remain quiet for now. Your boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas: east to southeast flow at 10 to 15 knots, seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean, while in the southeast Bahamas, east to southeast flow 15 knots, seas running 3 to 5 feet over the ocean. Here's a look now at your national forecast. Now we'll look at your extended forecast through Monday. That's a look at your weather. Make it a great night, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can get Our News on the go, the RevGo Play app. Have a good Wednesday evening, Bahamas.